really obvious one is the need for salaries. The demand right now for high salaries across the tech industry is so prevalent. What a lot of tech companies need to be doing is being overly clear on your job adverts, on any platform where you're engaging with tech talent. Be very clear about how much you're paying. Be very clear about the benefits that you're going to be providing tech talent with, such that when they come, there are no discrepancies. The second one is this acceleration or the digitization post-COVID. We've seen the tech landscape change drastically post-COVID. Companies require different skill sets and have different challenges post-COVID. So actually being able to source the talent that will support tech companies in how they overcome these new digital problems is another almost challenge. And that's something that can be overcome with reskilling, retraining.
In your experience, what are the main mistakes employers make when targeting young talent?
The first thing is they tend to look at wrong places. So if you're a tech recruiter and you're looking to engage with young talent, the first thing you should be doing is thinking, actually, how do we understand where they are? Number one, what platforms are they on? Number two, how do we reach them? How do we reach them and how do we communicate that message? How do we communicate what we do? And the best way to communicate what you usually do is through your employer brand. And then the third one will probably be job descriptions. We've found a lot of discrepancies in language, in communication. Companies tend to struggle in being able to articulate what a particular role is.
So what advice would you give businesses looking to engage young talent from an early age?
First of all, be intentional. Be intentional about investing in young talent. If it means speaking to DMs, decision makers, and saying, look, this is the commitment that the business has made. Let's have that as a commitment. In fact, building a strategy and saying, perhaps we can't achieve this in the next year or 2 years, but actually, how can you build a 5-10 year plan? Build that into your hiring strategy so that it becomes a real business objective. It becomes a real business goal that the business is pursuing. And if it's fed into your hiring strategy, it's something that you can't ignore. It's something that you're constantly going to be going back to and measuring yourself on year on year. I think the first thing to do if you're looking to engage with tech talent is data. Collect data, understand the audience that you're looking to engage with. That's the first thing. Go out there, understand what they like. What are their trends? What are the habits are we seeing? What differences are we seeing in their consumption habits? What are we seeing in where they're spending their time? What do they enjoy? What kind of roles are they looking for? How do you provide flexibility for them?
What advice would you give to other companies that want to increase diversity and inclusion in their teams?
Be very, very intentional. Diversity and inclusion goes beyond just a tick box. If you're looking to engage with LGBT communities, actually, what can you be doing at a tech company to invest in these communities? How can you take resource that you have? And resource doesn't always mean money. Resource can be your time. It can be taking your expertise and going to diverse communities and saying, hey, how can we support? And when you're intentional like that and you're genuinely invested in these communities, what you see in the long term is you will see an influx of diverse talent being more receptive, first of all, to you as an employer. But number two, in the long run, you will see a shift in diverse communities feeling more encouraged, and they'll generally want to actually work where you're at.
The growing issue of sustainability, diversity and equality tops the agenda for young people. What can companies do to show that they are taking a societal stand?
I think the first thing companies need to be doing is being genuine. Not every organization is doing something, is taking a stand towards diversity. Not every organization is actively doing something in the sustainability space or in the D&I space. If you're not recognized, that work needs to first go in and make that public. There is now a rise across social media, across different platforms of influencers that are in the tech space. And what we've seen is more and more tech students, people that are in tech, are documenting their journeys into tech, and they're sitting as influencers. Really interesting campaigns over the last 3 or 4 months where we've worked directly with just tech influencers. And these tech influencers have driven tremendous results.
What are the key barriers in your experience that may be stopping young people from entering the tech industry, and how can they be overcome?
One of them is lack of interest in tech because of how tech has been perhaps portrayed. I'd say the other barrier is lack of information around alternative career paths. It's so important to be able to map out what a route into tech could look like for somebody that has never been exposed to tech. And then I'll say the last one is perhaps developing role models. At the moment, what we see is tech companies don't invest a lot in developing role models. I think particularly if you're coming from a diverse background, if you can't see someone that looks like you working in an industry, it's very, very difficult most of the times for you to imagine yourself in an industry.
CWJobs, the home for tech jobs.